Gil, you've been said the Suns needed to give him some burn, put him in the starting lineup. So for you, is it good to see Bol Bol starting to find his fit with this Sun squad?
As a coach, what are you looking at? Like, what do you, like, when you're watching the game and you're watching practice, what are you actually looking at? How are you evaluating your players?
Well, now tuned in to the Dark Times channel.
We've had lengthy discussions about Bol Bol and whether he would live up to his potential in the past. Gil, you've been said the Suns needed to give him some burn, put him in the starting lineup. So for you, is it good to see Bol Bol starting to find his fit with this Sun squad?
Yes.
And so let me go ahead and pause it right there for you all. Because we can read between the lines, we can see the frustration in Gilbert Arenas' face, because we've seen this show before when it comes to the Phoenix Suns. We've seen Bol Bol get significant minutes, and then all of a sudden, he's getting DMPs and garbage time minutes.
As a coach, what are you looking at? Like, what do you, like, when you're watching the game and you're watching practice, what are you actually looking at? How are you evaluating your players?
And that's the million-dollar question that I brought up over and over again. What exactly is that coaching staff looking at when it comes to Bol Bol? What exactly is that organization looking at when it comes to Bol Bol? Because they can't be looking at the same thing that everybody else is looking at.
Right, but every time you put me on the floor, I've produced at very large numbers. And it's weird that it's taken this long to play him 3 games, and he has shown all 3 games he's balling. Like, worst case scenario, in 30 minutes, he gives you what? 12, 10, and 3 blocks? Worst case. That is better than whoever you have that's at the center spot. You're telling me that him, Kevin Durant, Beal, and Booker wouldn't have been dangerous? Like, who are you doubling at that point when you got your 5-man that can actually shoot 3s too?
And so absolutely, no doubt about it. And I said the exact same thing in the previous video that I did. Great minds. A lineup featuring Kevin Durant, a Bradley Beal, a Devin Booker, alongside a Bol Bol, somebody that can step outside, space the floor, and shoot that 3. That's a Thanos lineup in today's NBA. And so at the very least, that's something that I would have anticipated, or I would have expected the Phoenix Suns to actually start off the season with. If they would have started off the season with that lineup, I can almost guarantee you they wouldn't be sitting close to the bottom of the West and fighting for a play-in spot right now.
You know, it's just weird that you're just realizing this shit now. I don't give a how lazy he was. I would have tested it a long time ago.
You don't think they'd have? You don't think they have tried
No. Every time they've done it. I mean, every time they've done it.
How many games he didn't play? 13?
17 games.
17 games out of, no. You haven't given him extensive time and minutes, not in 17 games.
It's a sticky. But how is his work ethic sticky? It's sticky situation.
They've been, how's,
So let me go ahead and pause it right there, because Kenyon Martin has the same expression that I had on my face. How's his work ethic? Who gives a darn about his work ethic if he's producing? If there's a work ethic issue, that's something that you address in the offseason. As of right now, you're trying to win games, and you got to deal with who you have on your roster. You don't have time to worry about practice players and how they hustle and practice and all that kind of stuff, because that's really what you're talking about. You're talking about your workhorses in practice that are going to get after it, and that's important, especially when you're trying to establish a culture there. But in the meantime, when you have a player on your roster that produces every time they get out there, you got to play them from a coaching standpoint and a GM standpoint. Because if you play him, worst case scenario, he goes out there and he performs, and then he goes back to practice and he's still lazy. But other teams don't know that. Or if they do know that, they probably think that they can fix it to some degree. And so by not playing him, not only are you messing up your chances at winning, you're also messing up his trade value. If they had been playing Bol Bol at the beginning of the season, or at least a significant amount of games before the trade deadline, and he was playing like this, I guarantee you they could have got a really good player back for him. A solid player, a solid contributor to that team.
try to get better. Let's about winning, man. It's about winning and losing.
Yeah.
Like you got a championship, dude, as a coach. Coach like it. Right? Show up and coach like it, bruh. Like you gotta look at that shit, man. Like I get him. Oh, he late, he this, he that. My kind of. All right, cool. He's still on your roster.
Right, use them. Right,
that
be
roster,
that shit. Like, this. It's like, but you still got him on your fucking team, bro.
still
Like,
there.
don't ignore the fact that you got him. Like, use him.
Is he lazy in the game?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Dude.
Is he late? Like,
So I just go back.
Right.
Yo,
Not like
I go back to my situation,
dogging
right? We all know the relationship I had with dude in Denver, right?
Mm-hmm.
We all know it. You thought that got in the way of him, his wins, and what he had to prepare game plan? No. I started every fucking game
I gotta use him.
right? Can you guard him? How you want to guard him? How you want to guard this? Like, all right, he coaching this. Like, that ain't got nothing to do with our relationship. How he feel about me?
And so shout out to Kenya Martin. And Kenya Martin, like I've said before, Kenya Martin is probably one of my favorite players ever to play the game. I loved his tenacity. I loved his energy. I loved that he was defensive minded.
Base rebound by Baker. He goes back up and just snatched out of the air by Kmart.
They've got the right guy. Why? Because they got a winner. How about that? Basket counts goaltending. Give it to Tayshaun Prince.
I'm a little biased to defensive players that most of you already know. And so he's one of my favorite players, but I can only imagine what it was like to coach him back in the day, especially in his younger days. But like I said earlier, I agree with him 100%. As long as you have a talent like Bol Bol on your roster, you gotta play him. And I'm not even saying that they had to start him. I think it would have been in their best interest to start him, or at least to see how that lineup would have looked. But at the very least, you gotta give him some minutes. Not only do you owe it to that team because you're trying to win games, but you owe it to the fans. Because every Bol Bol game that I've seen, the crowd goes crazy.
Wrong. Gifted. And the fans love it.
People want to see Bol Bol because they know what they're seeing. If Bol Bol was out there stinking it up, they wouldn't be cheering for Bol Bol like that. Not only does he give you good basketball, but he's highly entertaining. To see a guy that size, to be able to move like that, be able to do some of the things that he can do. You don't see that all the time. So as a fan, of course they want to see that. But like I've said in previous videos, there's a bigger play here. There's a bigger issue here. And a lot of y'all know what that is. And I've said it before, I'm not going to say it again because what's understood at this point, or at least what should be understood at this point, doesn't need to be stated again. But that's all I got on this one. Y'all go ahead and keep the conversation going on below as y'all usually do. And I'm going to be in there chiming in as well. And as usual, peace and chaos.